Hey, Gaybros Blake,
Hey, Gabriel Jose.
where are we today?
I'm in San Francisco.
And it looks like it's pretty hot because you have like the door open.
Yeah, it's been nice. This weekend was super warm. I can
Nice.
finally use this patio that I've been
That's cool.
building for months and not been able to use because it's fucking cold here.
Do you think that you could record from the patio?
I could one day, yeah. The only problem is we have neighbors that also have a little patio and they're raising ducks and geese. And we don't know if they're for eggs or if they're going to eat them, but they make a lot of noise.
They're raising geese. Is that even legal in San Francisco?
I don't think there's much legal about this whole family, is all I'll say.
Oh my God, dude. Okay, let's just leave that type of comment on the side because I'm not going to be like digging. I know that it's going to be like damaging our audience. uh, but yeah, so what did we watch this time?
This was my pick, and I picked the Alexander Payne film, Citizen Ruth.
Is that like the sophomore film?
I believe he had one feature-length film before this.
Okay.
Does that sound right?
Yeah, I mean, I was checking. Yeah, we don't need to actually just get this right. I was checking the Wikipedia and I wasn't like completely sure what was the.
But I do know this is the first film that he did with his writer partner, Jim Taylor, who wrote
Gotcha.
a lot of things that he worked on, including like Sideways, about Schmidt, Jurassic Park 3. So yeah.
Wait, he directed Jurassic Park 3?
No, the guy who wrote Citizen Ruth, Election, about Schmidt, Sideways, he also wrote Jurassic Park 3.
So it's
and
still
that-
working with Laura Dern
Yep.
that she was in Jurassic
Well,
Park 3.
Jurassic Park 3 was like 20 years ago, wasn't it? 22 years ago.
Okay, Jim Taylor was the writer.
Yes.
Jurassic Park 3.
And the reason I picked this film is because I had the opportunity to hear Laura Dern speak about the book she just released with her mother, Diane Ladd. And in this lecture, she discussed several of the films that she got to work in with her mother, playing her mother. And she listed this, and throughout the lecture, I was looking scores up and reviews of the movies she was talking about, and Citizen Ruth came up as directed by Alexander Payne, and I found a critic that said Alexander Payne didn't hit his stride until Election, but this is a good movie. And I thought, this is the one I'm going to make Jose watch.
With that description, it almost sounds as a hate pick.
Almost, except, I mean, it was a hate pick for me to pick for you and for me, because I have a love-hate relationship with Alexander Payne. I thought Nebraska was so boring.
I was thinking about it. I remember watching it in the cinema and just feeling it's like, this is not bad, but I don't want to ever watch it again.
No, ever. And I don't
remember anything. I don't
Bruce
remember.
Dern, that's it.
Yep. Yeah, like just feeling bored out of my mind. But Election is like a, as you were saying, like a love-hate thing. It's like I love to hate it, and I think that I hate to love it.
We really should watch that, because I've been surprised recently rewatching films that I've changed my opinion on, apparently, and I'm so curious to know if I would change my opinion on Election. But
Yeah.
this is not about Election. This is about Citizen Ruth.
And as this was your pick, I guess that I have to summarize it.
Please.
Yeah. So this, I'm not going to be like just mentioning this until after I'm done with the synopsis, but the story follows Laura Dern. What was her name? Ruth. Ruth Stoops, the titular Ruth. She is basically homeless. The movie starts with she getting kicked out of her boyfriend's house, and she basically like walks around, talks with her ex-partner that is living with two of her kids that she's not being in their life, or she gets some money from him, and we see that one of the things that Ruth likes to do the most is smelling paint. I don't know, like a sniffing paint. I don't know what is like the term for just
Huffing.
like doing huffing.
Yeah,
huffing paint. And she has been detained like multiple times by the police. So
she's just a hardcore drug addict.
Yeah, like drug addicts, and not without any kind of intention of reinsertion in society. She has been multiple times like forgiven from crimes, and letting like go back to the streets without any change or prospect of changing in the future. But this time when she gets detained by the police, she's told that she's pregnant for a 5th time. Yep. So she gets sent to jail, and she's told by the how do you say, by the judge that she should abort. That is like, if she doesn't abort, was
it the judge? I asked because I didn't quite. Oh, that's why
it was the judge.
I didn't quite catch that. I assumed he was like a prosecutor or something. Thank you. Keep going.
Yeah. So it was the judge a bit more about saying, it's like, you are going to end in jail, but if you actually abort, is that there is a higher chance that they will reduce your condemn, like the time that you need to make, and even that you will go out of prison, out of jail, like way sooner. Just for fear, if I recall correctly, it's a bit of for fear of we don't know what you're going to be like doing out there being pregnant, and what kind of damage can you do like to the baby if you end up like carrying this pregnancy. And besides that, is that you are not fit for taking care of a baby. We already saw that like 4 times up to this point, and it will be like a cost to society. So don't do it. But she ends up going to jail. She established like a friendship with 4 or 5 like religious women that they are like sharing jail for the night. And when they go out, they pay the bail of Ruth. And then we see like,
I just want to object to the term friendship. There's like a opportunist.
Sure. What I'm saying is that it looks like it's out of good intent, and they adopt Ruth, one of the women. They adopt Ruth with her husband and her 2 kids. And then we discover that basically this woman is, I don't know what it was her name, Gail. It was Gail. She's part of a baby saver group that they protest like in front of an abortion clinic every single day, and they get detained from time to time by the police as they throw themselves in front of the cars, and they just cause like chaos around. So they try to use Ruth for you shouldn't abort, we will adopt you, and we will even adopt the baby, you don't need to do this.
Because even though Laura Dern's almost 30 in real life, she's supposed to be a young teenager in this.
I don't think that is a young teenager.
Like 12 or 13, but I think she's supposed to be like 18, 19 in this.
I don't think so. I think that is after that. Because just think...
really?
Yeah, because I thought at the beginning the same, and I was like, dude, this is even a bigger stretch than Wild at Heart. Let's remember that this movie is from 96. She had already played an accomplished paleontologist, a divorced accomplished paleontologist in Jurassic Park in 94, 2 years earlier. And in this movie, she already has 4 kids. 4.
But hey, credit to Laura Dern as an actress, because she's believable. I thought she was a teenager in this, and I believe she was a paleobotanist.
Sure, but when you actually see like the scene of Laura Dern next to the teenager daughter of Gail, there is a cut. It's like, dude, there is 10 years of difference between these 2 actresses. It's pretty obvious, So it's clear that it's like Ruth has taken wrong decisions in life. Probably life didn't give her like the best cars. Is that we even see like the mother towards the end of the movie saying that it's like, hey, you should choose the best path in life. And it's like, you were not saying that when you forced me to suck your boyfriend's dick.
I don't think the mom forced her. I think she...
she looked the other way, probably. It says, probably she was abused, and she had like a very wrong upbringing, whatever. But yeah, she actually gets into this family that they're like trying to force her to not abort. Albeit she knows that she needs to abort, otherwise she's going to be like sent back to jail. And then, making things like more bizarre, one of the baby savers is a spy from a pro-choice organization. So they not kidnap, but they take Ruth under their wing and they try to encourage her to abort. So she spends a couple of days with them, and then things become more chaotic as the pro-life starts offering like $15,000 as a check to her if she doesn't abort. They are pro-abortion, pro-choice. They actually say that they will match that offer, $15,000. Do we want to spoil everything?
No, I don't think so. I think it's more interesting. They claim they're trying to level the playing field so she can make the best.
Correct. But she's basically in a crossfire. It's like it's not so much about her. It's a bit more about like these two bands, like pro-life and pro-choice, and how she's being used by both sides as a message sending to society.
Yeah. And take all of that, which honest to God sounds like a grand jury winner at Sundance, if it were gritty as fuck and like sad and like just brutal, and then add Alexander Payne's unique sense of humor to all of this.
But the thing is, like, it's not that funny either. And it's true that Alexander Payne, he has like a very subdued sense of humor. He's never like laugh out loud kind of things. And in this one, I think that I tried to be more laugh out loud, and it failed. I think that in Election was like, no, I cannot do laugh out loud. I had to do like black comedy, where people are never going to end up being happy.
Yes, I completely agree. There were very few laugh out loud moments, and even the moments I did laugh out loud, it was more like a sense of like, finally there's some satisfaction and like characters getting what they deserved, which rarely happens. But that's not to say that doesn't mean it's good. I feel like this sense of humor is very much like Todd Solondz, in that like something horrible happens, like the child molester gets out of jail, and there's just a really sad joke that you can't laugh at, and you're just sad afterwards. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't have value as a movie, and I do think there's value to Citizens Ruth. And I'll say that I read the original New York Times review in 1996 before I watched the movie. And that review really framed how I went into it. And I have to say I think they were wrong in 1996, because what they were saying is that they were too fair to both sides of the story. And they were not fair to either side. Like, I think he was completely objective in pointing out the absurdity and the hypocrisy of both sides. I don't think he should have made a choice, and I don't think he did.
No. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like the first thing that I was going to be like saying at the beginning, I didn't want to mention it before the synopsis, is that this is a movie that couldn't have been made today.
Yes, 100%.
It's like, it's impossible to do this. So it's like bravo, that is that you could do this in 96, and it is still like, once you see it today, it's like, oh my God, how edgy. And it's not because it's edgy, it's because like this topic has become like so controversial that is like, I cannot see a director and a screenwriter like presenting this to a studio and anyone greenlighting this.
Well, to be fair, this was a Miramax film in the 90s. This was being released next to like Reservoir Dogs. It's not like
dude.
Warner Bros. Family.
Miramax was the A24 of the 90s.
Oh, you bite your goddamn tongue.
No,
please,
I'm sorry.
Okay, let's not go down the studio path.
Okay. There are studios before A24 that they were like the A24 of that time, that they were like doing a bit more of a cool stuff.
I agree, but I do think this would fit perfectly into a festival right now. Like, in fact, didn't an abortion movie? Anyway, it doesn't matter. I think it couldn't be made because there's like jokes about the leader of the Baby Savers, which is played by a handsome Reynolds, who takes in one of the young boys abandoned by a mother and then has him rub oil on him before speech. Like, that I don't think you could do today at all unless you're Todd Solondz for some reason. But yeah, I don't know. I do feel like there's a place for this today without some of the more edgier jokes.
I'm not sure. I think that it's not so much about like the content, it's about like the society. You know, it's like, can you see that, for example, like this movie getting like boycott in half of the states? I'm pretty sure that it would happen. Like in Alabama, it's like they would burn theaters down. Even if they're like making a parody of both sides, it's like they would burn them down.
Yeah, maybe. This country's messed up. I'm not saying there's not crazy people that would bomb abortions or theaters. No. But I think there are people daring enough and investors daring enough to invest in something like this today.
Yeah. I was going to say something else, and I completely forgot it. But it was like the first part that it came to my mind. And you mentioned Todd Solondz. I was watching this with my boyfriend, and one of the first things when they were sitting on the table in the religious family house is that I actually asked my boyfriend, he's like, did you watch Happiness? Or anything by Todd Solondz? Because I'm pretty sure that they're going to be like weird scenes like coming up from this point onward.
I would really like to watch Life During Wartime with your boyfriend.
Was Dasun any good? No, Sausage Dog, what's it called?
It was a lesser Todd Solondz, we'll call it. And there was a dead wiener dog when my wiener dog was dying, so it wasn't. Yeah, I wasn't a target demo for that one in that moment.
Yeah, that's true. Oh.
There's my other wiener dog that I got to replace the dead one.
Dark, dude. That's pretty dark. Now, one of the things that I would say is like, I agree with the part is that this is like a proto Alexander Payne movie. Is that I think that there is a style of what he does, and I think that the movie is not bad. Don't get me wrong. I think that it's like properly shot. The topic is interesting. I think that it doesn't land the landing. It doesn't like nail the landing. I think that it's a bit more is like I would like to see Laura Dern as a character like more developed. I understand that it's a bit of if she was not pregnant and she was not like captured in this war between both sides, she wouldn't be an important part of society. No one would even look at her, as she becomes like immediately like propelled to a stardom because of this.
I can't tell if I've been duped, but I felt like the ending was like the perfect metaphor. I thought like it was the perfect ending to this film.
No, it's the perfect ending from the perspective that is like there is not. I'm going to spoil the ending. You know, it's like when
it was like a million years.
It's 30 years or so. But when she actually has the miscarriage, she tries to be honest. You can see it's like there is like an attempt of becoming like a better human being about like, I'm not going to be able to take the money because I cannot have an abortion because I actually had a miscarriage. And then like this character, I don't remember the name of that actress. That is a pretty Susie Cars.
I like her. She played it doesn't matter.
Yeah. But she actually, instead of listening to her, she started like just talking about like the publicity stunt and blah blah blah, instead of trying to care about like the human being in front of her. And how she at the end is like, well, if you don't care about me and the other side doesn't care about me, it's like I'm going to try to take the money. The only part that I feel bad is like, hey, at the end, the person that I guess that damaged the most is Harlan. Like like the veteran that he was giving like the money that he was given as compensation for the war to her.
I wondered about that, and I wondered if the tiny minor confrontation they have in the kitchen, I was like, was that enough that the writer thought we wouldn't like Harlan? Because I feel bad he got screwed out of that money, and that was the only conflict they had, but there wasn't over anything big, so I think we are supposed to feel bad for Harlan.
Yeah, I mean, it almost felt like, okay, so the person that he was doing the drugs and everything, that is not exactly like a great human being, at the end ends up with $15,000 and running away. After Harlan actually tells her immediately, like, we both know that money is not going to be lasting more than 3 days. Everything points that it's not.
But yeah, I mean, she was a big loser too. The amount of resources, I think, it did get a little preachy at the end. The amount of resources invested in fighting this fight meant that everyone lost, including her, because she just ran off to, comedy of the film aside, die of an addiction in a ditch huffing paint. Like that's her future, for real.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, that's the part. It feels, as I was telling my boyfriend, that is I feel like this is a bit of a staple on his movies. That is like no one really ends really happy. There may be like a bit more of a fresh coat of paint on top of whatever is the ending, but it's like it doesn't feel like it is going to be like a long lasting, and there is no like a significant growth of the characters. I remember the election, like, these people are not going to be happy in the future. And in Sideways, it's like, yeah, they made terms with being unhappy, I guess.
But at least he found his... So he understands his tone, the type of story he wants to tell, where he wants his characters to finish in the story. But I think a drug addict huffing paint and drinking while she's pregnant is not the right situation for his humor, and so when he moves that to a high school student government election, it's like, oh yeah, you've arrived. This is the right setting to make these sorts of jokes, not the.
I will have to watch election. I will have to watch election again, because it felt a bit more. It's like, hey, the stakes here are completely unbalanced in election. It's a bit more. It's like, hey, this girl is just trying to be elected as president of the council or whatever, and it's like, this guy is going to have his career destroyed. It almost felt like asymmetrical.
But that's a weird way to say it. You should have said that man was a predator pedophile, because that's what he was. You skipped over that part and you're like, oh, that guy's getting his career destroyed. No, Jose.
I don't remember that part. Honestly, I don't remember that part. I may be wrong, or you may be mixing it with a Todd Solon movie.
That's true.
I don't remember that he was a predator. I just remember that he was like assuming that he was like morally and intellectual superior to Reese Witherspoon.
We need to watch Election soon. Let's just end it there, because I'm realizing I don't remember it as certainly as I think.
Okay, that's fair. I like the ending because like when you actually drive like to this point of she has to choose between one side and another, is that she chooses the part of if you don't care about me, I'm only going to be like caring about the money. And if you project the
she made the right call. I mean, she's sick, she's an addict, she needs help, but nobody there was interested in helping her, and they all looked like idiots. Everyone, the silly lesbians, silly fundamentalist Christians, everyone but whatever his name is.
Harlan?
Yeah, Harlan.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it too. I actually was surprised at how compelling it was to me. Or entertaining. It was very entertaining to me. And no, I didn't laugh much, but there were some genuinely shocking moments, like the sucking the boyfriend's cock. I was like, this was a great scene. He knows how to make a great scene with some like emotionally satisfying payoff.
Yeah. That part, like how they built like all of these around, around her, it was cute, Because like, I don't know, I feel like, and don't get me wrong, I think that is a good movie. And I was surprised. I was talking with someone today, and she was like also like quite a bit of cinema, and I mentioned Citizen Ruth, and she knew about it. She actually had watched, and we were talking about like the perspective of it. It's like, hey, we live in this polarized country, and it's when I brought up, it's like, oh, I just watched Citizen Ruth, and it's like, this is not new. That is like a polarized country about some specific topics. The problem is like now we are at a breaking point. It's like before it's something that you can make a comedy. It's like now it's like people would take out guns and shoot each other.
Yeah, I feel like the temperature of the nation is a little hotter right now than it was in 1996.
That's true.
Well, I'm very curious then to hear your answers to the questions.
Okay.
Well,
Your dog said what?
also excited to hear your answers.
I can hear it. Would you watch it again?
I would, yeah. I'm not going to run out and watch it like next month, but yeah, I would watch this again.
I think that I would watch it again. As you said, it's an entertaining and compelling movie. It's easy to watch. Let's just say is that you can just sit down and it goes easily. It's like 1 hour and 47 minutes or something like that.
I think something like that, yeah. And it goes fast, really fast.
Yeah, it's well made from that perspective. Would you recommend it?
Yeah, I would. It's a good kind of comedy. I mean, it is a comedy, but yes, I would recommend it.
So, I would recommend it, but it's like I'm not completely sure on what context, because it's like we're talking about movies about abortion. Like the first one that it comes to my mind is 4 months, 3 weeks, and 2 days.
I was actually going to bring that up, but I was like, it doesn't even feel right bringing that movie up with this one.
But it's true. But at the same time, it's like when we're talking about like, hey, if this would be a Sundance movie, if it was a bit more gritty and the likes, is that's 4 months, 3 weeks, and 2 days. And I think that we went to the cinema together to watch it.
No, because I remember seeing that in college and I wrote a paper about it. So that was pre-you.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. So I'm thinking about like 2 days, like the Cotillard movie, Marion Cotillard.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So there is contest. Well, the second movie about abortion that maybe I could think about, it would be Juno. That is not about abortion, but it's like a Sundance winner movie about a teenager.
But that's pregnant. More about choosing, not the right to choose. I guess this is also about the choice, but everyone is concerned about making her choice the choice. They want
to make like the choice for her, and I think that has more agency. Is everyone around her, like the family, is like you choose whatever you want to choose. We will support you. That is like you may be like the most unrealistically mature, supportive parents ever.
I just Googled comedies about abortion. It's a weird list. And it brought up actually a Mike Leigh film called Vera Drake, which is super good and not slightly a comedy.
Not even in the Mike Leigh style of making comedies?
No, it's just kind of sweet and nostalgic and then bitterly sad.
Holy shit, okay. What else is on the list?
They're not comedies, and I haven't heard of some. There's a 2019 movie called Unplanned, Never Rarely So, Unpregnant, As for Jane, Blue Valentine? Does somebody get an abortion in Blue Valentine? I don't remember that. Juno's on here. Catch and Release. Ooh, these are not good.
Yeah. So I could say that I would recommend it, but it's like I'm not completely sure on what context can I recommend this. I don't think that anyone's going to be asking me, can you tell me a movie about abortion? But I want it to be a comedy.
But I can understand why you might not imagine the specifics of the situation, but if you even like at a company happy hour, if someone said, hey, have you seen anything interesting lately? This is a movie you can bring up and mention. It's not super offensive. It's an adult movie, but
I think that my company communication guidelines prevents me from actually talking about abortion. Yeah, I think that is like one of those topics that it may be like, now it has become too controversial. Don't talk about it in a work environment.
Yeah, I can understand that, especially with, people fighting to make companies pay for it in states that don't like that.
But going back to the questions, would you remember Citizen Ruth?
I think I'll remember like the big picture. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, the same for me. I think that I will remember like the aspect, or is like Laura Dern is pregnant, and they are like two bands that they are like fighting for making her choice if getting an abortion or not.
I'm pretty confident I'll remember most of Burt Reynolds and most of Diane Ladd's scenes.
But Reynolds is in what, 4 scenes?
Yes, and I think Diane Ladd was in 1. I'm gonna remember those 5 scenes.
Okay, that's fair. Let me just go back to the questions. Is there anything artistic about it?
Yeah, I mean, he has a distinctive style, like it or not. He knows how to show on screen what he wants you to see, and it's unique, and it's weirdly funny, which I think that humor is really difficult to do. So yeah, there's a lot that's artistic. Laura Dern is fucking amazing in it.
She's pretty good, but also at the same time, it's like the character is so histrionic that sometimes it's impossible to take it seriously. It's like, look, this is like way too over the top.
And this is like her dry run for... It wasn't Wild at Heart released in 97? But this was 1 year before.
Oh my God. No. Wild at Heart is from 1990.
Oh, wow. Wow, she just does not age. This Laura Dern.
No, dude. No. I'm sorry, dude, but it's like, no, you don't want her to age. But it's like, it's pretty clear that she's younger on that movie. It's like she can get away with playing almost, a teenager. Blue Velvet is even before that. It's 86. And there, she is 100% convincing.
You said 86, so she was 19 in that, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but in Citizen Ruth, clearly she's not a teenager. And they don't focus much about that, thank God.
Yeah, it's not a like plot line or anything.
Yeah.
I just assumed because she has this long gangly body like a teenager that like just hit the very beginning of puberty.
Yeah, and she has actually she dresses in a very teenagery way.
Yeah, or like a homeless drug addict.
Yeah.
No, the same styles.
Yeah. Do you like the scene when the husband flirts with her?
I was really worried it was going to be about that, and I didn't want it to be, so I was more concerned about that. I don't think I liked it, no, and I'm glad they didn't make it about that.
Yeah, for me, well, like the same thing about is this about abortion, or is this going to be about the hypocrisy? Because it can be about the hypocrisy too. Is that they actually just, it was, is that you can see like the daughter like just having sex at home, like the daughter of the family like going out partying. There is a risk that she ends up like Ruth.
Yeah.
Do you think that this is a timeless piece?
I'm going to say yes. I mean, the world is getting more progressive towards abortion, except America, who seems to be going backwards. But I feel like abortion is just a fight that's not going away for a long time. And even if it does, the commentaries can still be about any political issue where the sides just want to fight and not deal with anything else.
I see your point, but I'm going to go with no. For me, and I didn't mention this, albeit I think that it's artistic, I also think that this is very 90s. It's super 90s, And then I also think that the way that is looking at the problem, as I was saying earlier, or at the topic, is like it couldn't be able to be done today. It will feel almost of bad taste.
I won't disagree with the idea behind what you said, but I don't even think this film examined the topic whatsoever. It just examined fanatics.
True, but examining fanatics about a topic that people are fanatic about it nowadays.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, because it almost felt like, hey, look, in this situation, you have people that they are like fanatic in one direction, fanatic on the other direction, and then you have people trapped in the middle. There is some of them, they're going to be like just thrown around left and right for whatever decisions they want. And now I have the feeling that we have been so polarized that there is no middle ground. There is no one in the middle. It's that you're on one side or another. Not at that level, but it's like we all have stronger opinions than we used to have before.
That could be right. I mean, this one is difficult to fall in the middle on. Either you believe a woman should choose or not. That doesn't mean you have to be pro-killing, like abortion. Like, I have many friends, conservatives in Utah and Idaho, and they're like, I would never get an abortion. I don't think women should. I don't think the government should stop them from doing whatever.
Okay, that's fair. I still stick to I think that this is timely. But it's just because I think that a movie that tries to do this, it could be fairly different from that, regardless of Alexander Payne and whoever was in it.
But isn't it interesting, and I'm not trying to say you're wrong, although you are. No, I'm just kidding. But you say it's timely, but you say it's more relevant than ever today, the actual issue?
No. What I'm saying is that this movie couldn't have been made today. It's almost ironic that this movie
people
now
are more fanatical today.
More fanatical. It's like it represents like things like closer to reality. But that doesn't mean that it's like timeless. It's a bit more like just a testament of, hey, you were making us a parody, now this is the reality. Actually, like the person that I was talking about this movie, she actually recommended me Idiocracy.
I recommended you Idiocracy, and I was just going to say it's like Idiocracy being released.
Exactly. Yeah, but as she was telling me the same, is that, hey, this is the same thing that it happened. There is like some of the stuff that they did there about like saying how stupid the people will be in the future. We live in that future. Is that this actually became a reality. It's like that polarization and fanatism, it has become more of the reality.
Yep.
So it's like the kind of, okay, doing a comedy like this with these elements, I don't think that it will work, because it's like basically before it was like group of fanatics that they were of this size on this side, and now they are like gigantic and leaving like way less space for do whatever.
Yeah. Yep.
Would you turn this into a TV show?
I don't think so. I think it's the right scale for the story it told, and I don't think it needs to be fleshed out anymore. I'm happy to spend an hour and 45 minutes in this world, but I don't want to spend more.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that a limited series could be created out of this, but I don't think that it could be adding more to the world, like developing more, like the teenager daughter or the miracle kid or whatever. It's like, it's not going to be like giving me anything else.
There were a few red herrings that I really thought they would go into, like the arrival of the sister that they just didn't address.
But it was fake.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, because she left like a note, and the note is that you deserve to go to hell, just lad.
But I thought that was from the real sister, and that's just how they talk to each other.
No, I thought that they were like trying to be cautious. That is like, hey, we're not going to be like letting random people to go here. And it's like, hey, if I cannot convince them that I'm the sister, at least I'm going to be like giving my message.
I was like, oh, they're mean to each other, so they'll know they're real sisters.
No.
It's like if we were in this situation, obviously we're not siblings, but I was like, you fag. You'd know that note was from me.
That's true, but at the same time, it's like, I'm pretty sure that was not the case in this situation.
All right.
I think that it was more like, hey, there are like a lot of people that they will want to force her to have the baby.
I'm not always that smart about what's real and not real in movies, but I did smoke a joint during this movie, so so there's that added layer of...
Okay. It may have affected your perception a bit. All right. Could this movie have been a short?
Probably, yeah. This could have been, or at least like a 21-minute Black Mirror episode. It could have been. And I know Black Mirror episodes are 44 minutes. I'm just saying it could have been the length of an episode of The Office. 100%.
Oh my God. Now I have to check if there is like a The Office episode from NBC that they actually talk about abortion. Maybe 30 Rock. I could see 30 Rock like having a joke about abortion. I'm not sure about The Office. The Office used to be like a bit more correct. I agree that this could have been a short. Like, definitely, you could have get away with 40 minutes.
Yep.
And just like tell the same story. So last question: do you think this movie could have been better?
No, nothing stands out. I think he's a talented director who was figuring out who he was and what he wanted to do, and it's a great film regardless of his young, inexperienced career.
I'm going to go with yes, because I think that the script could have been like a bit tighter. As you said, it's like there are like many things that they looked at. They may go somewhere, they don't. I feel like also the character of Ruth was like too histrionic for being taken seriously, and maybe that was the point. Maybe it was a bit more like, hey, I don't want to make anything real. Is that everyone in this movie is a vehicle to something? But it just...
And I do think that is his style, because while we will watch Elections soon, I remember none of them being real human characters. It's like the Wes Anderson of sad pedophile movies.
Dude, it's not Todd Solondz. It doesn't go that far. And even like, honestly, it's like in Todd Solondz, I still feel like the characters, albeit how depraved and bizarre they are, is that he tries to create characters. They are not vehicles for something. It's like the story may be like a vehicle for something, but the characters, I think that they're a bit fleshed out.
Characters are just ghosts that say mean things. Of course they're not real characters.
Okay, now we have to watch more Todd Solondz and more Alexander Payne. I see what is the line. But I'm thinking about The Descendants, and other movies, is like I think that, and even Nebraska, is like, hey, you may be trying to portray a specific narrative behind this or a specific reality, but your characters, they are not, they have a beat to them. In this case, Ruth...
I don't think you can compare Election and Citizen Ruth to something like The Descendants, which is just a straightforward story with real characters. Yes, there's some comedy in it, but it's not overly stylized like these ones.
Sure, let's just go with Sideways.
Which is also I guess it's somewhere in the middle between the two.
But honestly, it's like Ruth, I can understand that like both sides are very cartoonish, but Ruth that is in the center, I think that she could have been developed like a bit more. And I feel like we were giving like a bit more of a single tone kind of character about like, okay, yeah, her life is garbage and she's not doing absolutely anything for making it better. But it's not like a Michael League movie. Like, what was the movie that we watched from Michael League that is like a drama of the guy that goes... No, it was not Topsy-Turvy. It was not Hunger. Hunger is...
I've seen a lot of Mike Leigh movies, so I don't...
but the one that is like basically the antithesis of Happy-Go-Lucky.
Naked.
In Naked is like the character is also like a piece of garbage, but we are given like more nuance to it for actually just coming with a real human being. In this case, I feel like Ruth is not a real human being. We are given like a lot of info.
The writer-director cared as little about who Ruth was and where she was going to go as the characters did. Nobody thought she was worth getting to know, even Alexander Payne.
The audience is not going to be like seeing this, but I'm giving like a bit of a side eye right now about like, I think that you are giving too much credit to Alexander Payne, but okay. Because then it's like, don't give me all of these tidbits of information, because it's like we're giving information about her, but we see her doing over and over the same thing. That's the reason why I think is like, hey, you could remove like 80% of what we see of Ruth on the screen, and you will have a short that it just portrays the same point.
Yep.
So from my perspective, it's like, yeah, the script could have been better, like way better, like.
Especially if you consider the point of this film, in my opinion, is that people are dumb. Like, you can get that across pretty quick.
You can go to the street, dude. You don't need to watch a movie for that.
Just hold a mirror up to your eyes.
Yeah. So we score it?
Yes. This was my pick.
This was your pick. I have to say that I mean like the painting, the score. I'm going to go with a 6.5.
interesting. I think I'm giving it a 7.5, but I think we feel the same. It's a good movie. It's not great. And there you go.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's a good movie. I mean, it's not at election level. It doesn't deserve a Criterion edition.
I beg to differ, but whatever. But I've never really looked at Laura Dern as a serious talent. I know she's a very good actress, but I never looked at her as it's really interesting what she does. And now I'm like, obviously I'm biased because I saw her give a lecture, but now I do kind of want to look at her like early films, which I ignored except for David Lynch.
Yeah, I mean, I think that she does a really good job in Blue Velvet, and it was also like her first movie.
That's what I told you, so I hope it's true.
Because it was not Kyle MacLachlan's first movie. That was Dune.
He did... Oh, Eraserhead. That's right. It went Eraserhead, Dune...
No, Eraserhead, The Elephant Man, Dune. Wild at Heart. Oh, sorry, Blue Velvet, Wild at Heart.
Sidebar, there's a wall that's undecorated in my home and it's really big, and Pablo, my husband, and I have been trying to figure out what to put in it, and I begged him to let me take that page in the New York Times from the 1980s where they just completely pan Blue Velvet and next it's
Eraserhead, and then there's more.
Right next to it is he's a talent like no other, an ad for the Elephant Man. So I'm working on it in Photoshop to blow it up really big. And right under it is an ad for that super racist Disney movie they were showing in Manhattan, Song of the South. And I was like, can I keep this in, Pablo? And he said yes.
That's amazing. That's a great idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if it was... But I agree with you on the perspective of Laura Dern is someone that on my brain sees always her character in Jurassic Park. It has been like taking me a while for actually removing like that idea.
I rarely post on my Instagram, and I didn't want to just post a picture of Laura Dern, so I just put a lecture of Dr. Ellie Sattler.
Yeah, you are not making it easier for her for actually to move away from that.
No, I gave her no publicity on social media.
Yeah. But man, so as this was your pick, I guess that mine is next, and I gave you like 3 choices before starting.
Were they choices, or were you just like teasing me?
No, they were. I was using it as a soundboard. Is that you had told me that I don't want to watch that, and you partially did it.
So wait, it was Mad Max Fury Road, Waiting for Guffman.
Yep, Waiting for Guffman, and this one.
And which one?
The one that we're going to watch that is Primer.
So I didn't tell you what the order in my head was, but that's the one I wanted to watch the most. Not because of the time, but because I've seen Mad Max Fury Road, and for some reason I have some negative idea about Waiting for Guffman, even though I never saw it.
Yeah, I mean, I want to watch it, but it's like I also think that it's less popular than Spinal Tap and Best in Show.
Yep.
So a part of me just feels that every single time that I was like something that it was like less popular than these two, I've always left like this was not that funny. Yeah. So, come on. Anything else to say about Citizen Root?
Yeah, go see it.
Go see it with a time travel machine to 96. Oh, where did you watch it?
I paid for it on Amazon, I think, for convenience. I think it was free somewhere with ads, and I was like, no.
It was free on Showtime, and I could actually just do the 7-day trial. So I got that and immediately unsubscribed. So,
well done.
Yeah. Man, if we don't have anything else to say about the movie or Laura Dern, then we can say thank you to all of those people listening to us.
And goodbye.
Because the pandemic is over.
The pandemic's over. Wash your hands after you use the bathroom. There you go.
Okay. Bye.